Folks, welcome back to MAYPOLE Farm, and we're doing a little bit of a test at the moment, and I'm doing some rather janky feeding during that test. Yes, those are indeed pallet forks going into a wrapped bale of silage. Realism is key, folks. So I'm in a hotel for a change because it's a Monday night. Yes, I know, what a shocker. And what I'm testing is recording a video on my laptop, which I haven't done in terms of creating content for a very long time. Now, my new laptop is all shiny and whizzy and sparkly. Well, it's not sparkly, but it's pretty shiny and whizzy. And it runs games really well. Now, the problem I had with the old laptop is it was really awful at recording audio. Now, does that matter with my voice? Well, yes, technically it does, because it would add loads of horrible garbly noise on top. Shut it. And it meant that actually it sounded really bad. Now, there is a risk this video sounds really bad, and no, not just my awful voice. So if it does, I apologize. Just bear with me. I've been wanting to conduct this test for a little while, and I've literally spent the last hour, I think, battling getting this darn thing to work. So to help, because I'm normally recording in a noisy-ish room for whatever reason, I use some NVIDIA software. It's called NVIDIA Broadcast, if you're interested, to remove background noise. It makes use of NVIDIA GPU processing power to do noise reduction, and it works pretty well, generally. And for some reason, it wasn't working on my laptop, so I had to... But I spent some time trying to get it to work, and then had to uninstall it and reinstall it, and then it still wasn't working, and I was about to give up, and then magically it started working. Because that's the way life is, isn't it? So anyway, that took me far longer than it should have. I also had the fun of, although I didn't want to record on my PC that I travel with, I still had to set it up because the save game and the mod folder were on that PC. And you kind of need those to be able to make the recording. So yeah, I had to set that up anyway. But anyway, enough whinging. What that's meant is that that's the wrong bale. Where's the right bale? Where have you lot hidden the bale spike? Come on. There it is. Why did you put it there? Anyway, one of you has hidden stuff from me in the past in Farm Sim, haven't they? So, get your brain organised. That meant that, well, that and the fact that I haven't really touched Farm Sim since Friday. Because I made a bonus video. Did you enjoy the bonus video? But yeah, I haven't done the thing that I was going to do, which was to feed the cows and progress to April. But that's okay, because we have some things to do still. So we're going to feed the cows, and we might progress to April naturally. So yeah. So you're here watching me feed cows at the moment. I made a mod tutorial video. I haven't done that in... Well, I have done that in a little while, because we did the one... Well, not we, you didn't help. You didn't help at all. No, just me. It's been a long day. On the teach-in extension. And the cool thing was the creator commented on the video. It was his first mod, apparently, for Farm Sim. Which was kind of cool, because I think it's a very cool mod. If you didn't watch that video, go give it a look, because it's a very cool mod. It's it's doing things that are a little bit like Akimobil's. I think it's one of Akimobil's mods, which the name has now jumped out of my brain. The one where at the end of the row you could do stuff linked to GPS. But the name of it has literally leapt out of my brain as I've started to speak, which is really helpful. But that only really did turning round at the end of rows. Whereas this, in theory, you could program to do fairly complex operations as long as they're less than or equal to 8 steps. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. So I did get some bits slightly confused in that video. In that the profiles, you only have to click on them once you've created the stuff. So you can create stuff in the 4 slots. You can then click on a profile and save stuff. So that's I was still learning, as is sometimes the way when I'm doing videos like that. I saw Cool Mod on ModHub, and I kind of wanted to jump on the opportunity quicker. Because it was a freshly released mod. I think it was. I spotted it the day after it released, and it was like, I should try and make a video explaining how that works quicker, so that I get the early bonus of being the person that's explained how that mod works, rather than using it for a bit and understanding it in depth. So I kind of downloaded it. Yeah, I had when I read the instructions for it, I was like, that would be perfect for mowing. And so had a little play with it. It worked as I expected it to. I was like, yeah, we can make a video. We can make a tutorial on explaining how this works. So kind of jumped on doing that, and then got to the profiles bit. It's like, oh, this doesn't quite work as I thought it did. But anyway, it's kind of nice to do the odd little tutorial video. I know I still need to do the one for moisture system. That is a tutorial that requires a bit more brain power, and weekend brain power is kind of fluctuates. Let's say that kind of fluctuates. I think I said in the last video on here, it had a bit of a rough end to the week. I'm still not going to go into the details of it. And I threw that tutorial together because it didn't really require a lot of in-depth thought. It was like, download the mod, play with the mod for a bit, we're good to go. Moisture system, I think, is a mod that's more complex and requires a bit more pre-planning and thought. It's a complex mod, so I don't want to rush into making that, because I think it's a tutorial that's got a bit of evergreenness to a tutorial on it. So yeah, saying that, I had a comment on my FS22 corn versus grass silage video this week. So yeah, my older tutorials still get a somewhat steady stream of views, which is, it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. Okay, talking about that, because we are going to be trying to buy a field to expand the farm, and I did say I would try and look at what's the best option for silage to keep the BJ running, and I have an answer for you, and I've considered a couple of factors here. So yield is obviously a factor when you're looking at best crop to plant for getting stuff off of a field, but I don't think it's the only factor for what we're trying to do, because we want to be able to keep the BJ running. And so that ultimately yield is the factor, but with the situation we're in at the moment, and with red tape, we don't want to be storing lots of animal output. So we need to be able to, we need to have a steady stream of silage. So that would lean towards doing grass because we can get 3 cuts of silage a year off of the field. And that gives us 3 opportunities to get crop. I was just wondering where I'd put the milk tank because we also need to go sell milk. So that would suggest that maybe grass is the way to go. I then went and I went and watched my old video, and that was looking at like efficiency and cost efficiency and stuff. And it was for FS22. And that was showing that you get a significant amount more with grass. Now, I don't know if the yields have changed going to forwards or not. But when I looked at the numbers for... Actually, I was comparing something slightly different. So that video compared a raw single silage crop versus 3 cuts of grass. And in that situation, you got a lot more with grass. What I've looked at here is comparing doing corn followed by grass. So you get either a half or a full cut of grass, depending on the timing, or 2.5 cuts of grass a year. And the numbers are pretty similar. They're pretty similar. If you only get a half cut after the corn silage, you get a bit less from that. If you can get a full cut, you get a bit more. So I'm thinking, because of the situation we're in at the moment, where we need consistent flow of silage, we should go grass, initially at least. That's my thought. Said a lot of words to get to that, didn't I? I know, I've got to fill a however long video with words. But so the comment on the FS22 video had another suggestion. Now, I don't know if the timing works out exactly. It feels to me like the timing is a little bit sketchy. But they suggested you could do corn into barley and silage the barley. Now, the yields work out kind of similar. By the time you've silaged the barley, you get a 4 times multiplier on the barley. So you get a little bit less with barley silage than a full cut of grass. But you don't guarantee the full cut of grass going from corn to grass. So I looked back at my videos on here. Now, the timing, it all does depend on timing, because if you get the corn cut early, you might get a cut of grass before winter, but I don't think you will, because I was planting in October on here. So, but equally, that makes me question their suggestion, because if we go into the calendar, so if you start with corn, so you're planting corn in April, May time. And then, so I didn't chop it until October, which means I was probably planting it in May. But let's assume you plant it in, I guess either way, actually. No, because you want to be planting it as early as possible, actually. Because you want it to, you plant the corn in April, which means you should be able to chop it in September. And if you're doing that, if you're planting grass in September, you should be able to get a cut of grass off in winter, I think, because it will grow in October and November, I think. and then you'll get a summer cut. So you probably get more off of grass. But anyway, this barley option. So you plant corn in April, you chop it in September, you plant the barley in September, and then you chop it in May, I think. And then that lets you plant corn, but you then can't plant the corn until May. And because you're planting it in May, you then can't chop it until October, which means you can't plant the barley until October. And I'm wondering then if actually you won't be able to chop it until June, which means you then run out of cycles that you can do this on, and you won't be able to repeat it again. So I don't think this is a cycle that you can keep doing, because I think you get into a point where you fall behind. I'm not sure because I've not checked on the growth of barley, but the fact that there's 2 planting months and 2 harvesting months suggests that's the case to me. I could be wrong. I've not checked the growth. I've not checked that if you plant in October, if you plant in September and October, whether it's always silageable in May. If that's the case, this works. If that's not the case, and if you plant in October and you can't silage until June after the second barley, so after the second corn planting, second barley planting, it breaks. Whereas with grass, I think you're okay because you can plant in April. You can plant corn in April, chop it in September, plant grass, and then you can always cut and replant, cut the grass and replant in April. So you can always stay on that cycle. But it was an interesting option. Yeah, I've not tested it personally, but if you want a bit of variety, I guess you could do a year of it and then do a year of grass. So, you know, because that'd let you reset and stay on the cycle. And I guess if you were playing with different types of silage, that would be useful. You know, if you were playing where we had maize plus and you needed grass silage and maize silage and whole crop silage, that would be useful. But, and no, I have no information on the release of that, so I've not been so involved this time round. So right, let's refill that. But yeah, and then maybe that would be a useful rotation because you could get from a few fields, you could cycle those different types of silage. I could see the benefit of it then, and that would be quite useful. Right, fields. So field 13, we're going to be planting corn. Field 15, we're going to be planting corn. Field 18, we're going to be planting soybeans. All of those we are planting next month. Field... Did I say... I think field 13 was it we were looking at buying? No, field 106, I think it was we were looking at buying, yeah, which is £128,000, which we can afford to buy. So I think what we'll do is we'll sell another tanker load of milk. We'll buy the field. And I'm wondering about doing a bit of nighttime planting, because it will get us a month ahead on the growth of the grass. And I think that's worth it. Now, obviously, we're not progressing as quickly through the calendar, but I don't know. I might. I don't know. Oh, the dilemmas. We'll see. Let's see what state the field is in. Because if it needs a lot of work, there's no point. Because we're not going to get it done in the time that we've got available. But in terms of like growth, growth, you're a grown damn adult man. It's not like, it's actual. In terms of actual real growth of crop, well, it's not real growth, it's simulated. You know what I mean. In terms of our simulated real crop growth, it'll be better. I've got myself so wrapped up in wordage that I crashed, because I wouldn't normally crash, would I? No, you know I wouldn't. You know my driving's that good. So yeah, I think that that's probably, if we can, it'll be good. It'll be good, because we'll get an entire month ahead on our growth just by doing it before we sleep. So where are we with the biogas accumulator? So you are running, and we have a bunch of stuff, and we have a lot of electric charge and methane. So let's activate you, change you to selling. And that'll be good, because that'll bring us in a bunch of money in the next 3 game minutes. So by the time we get back to the farm, we should have even more monies. And we can have a look at purchasing another field. And yeah, we'll just see what kind of state it's in and then make the decision on if we try and plant before midnight or not. And if the video is dark and awful, I apologize, folks. But let's be honest, half of you aren't even watching the moving picture, are you? No, you're not. You're here for my sparkling wit and humour. And so hopefully the sound isn't any more awful than normal. So look at that, £263,000. Yummy, all from fermented poop. Yeah, so yay. I should say that the end of this week, it's a different excuse, folks. Same story, different excuse. The end of this week might be a bit random because we are having new windows fitted in our house. I think I mentioned that Mrs. E randomly said one day, someone's coming to quote to fit new windows. And that it's happening this weekend. So, yeah. Or this Friday, but it's going to probably mess up a few days. It is going to mess up a few days. So, anyway, let's buy a field. So we now own a field. Let's go into the precision farming menu. Let's buy some soil samples. While we're here, I'm going to re-buy the soil samples for this field because they look pretty degraded. That one looks okay. It's good enough. And then let's jump out of the truck. Where are we for milk now? We've still got 40 grand's worth of milk. Okay, I could maybe do with selling a bit more of that. But anyway, let's change the mode back to storing. Let's turn that off. Change the mode back to storing. Turn that off. So that can just keep processing for now. We've got manure. We've got slurry. And we've got sugar beet in there. So that's good. Right. As if by magic, let's just go visit, shall we? So the pH is bad, but it doesn't need ploughing. So let's just double check that on the map. pH, the nitrogen's freaking awful. But it doesn't need ploughing. So do we just get it limed and seeded? A bit of me says we do. A bit of me says we do, folks. So buckle up. Take your sunglasses off if you were watching wearing sunglasses. If you were watching wearing sunglasses, why? Well, maybe you were somewhere where it's very bright. But anyway, let's go do a thing, shall we? Yeah? That thing would be planting our new field. I guess I need to try and get it planted, seeded, and rolled by midnight. So, yeah, why not? Why not? Because I need to roll it, because otherwise it will constantly say it needs rolling, because and it's not for the yield, it's for it not bugging me. And I guess if you're newer to Farm Sim, that's rolled from a seeding point of view, not rolled from a grassland roller point of view, because with precision farming that does now. So yeah. And then I guess from a fertilization point of view, we can chuck digestate on it once we're worrying about fertilization. It's got some growing to do before then. Got to grow up to be a real field. We also are going to need a lot of lime, but we will get the local tractor supply or ag supply firm to deliver lime for us. So, which of you has played Whitcomb Park? Did you enjoy it? I haven't. I have downloaded it. Why did I download it? Because I was curious about what all the fuss was about the file name, so I wanted to see what the file name was. And that was it. So yeah, I haven't even watched any videos on it. So yeah, I know. Call myself a Farm Sim player. So this can hold how much? Good question. No, it's not under there. What section's it under? Is it even under a section? Let's go here. That mod does need an update actually, but 9,000 cubic meters. So let's buy 8,000 cubic meters to start off with. Lime. So let's buy 4 bags of lime. We won't use it all initially, but that'll do. Yeah, I've not even watched any videos on it, to be honest. This doesn't super excite me, so yeah. Things I'm curious about. So the map, as I downloaded it, was 1.7 gigabytes. My understanding is ModHub has a 1 gigabyte file size limit. Now I'm guessing either there are 2 options there. One, Giants will waive the 1 gigabyte file size limit because it's Oxygen David. B, the ModHub version is going to be lower quality and he'll have to reduce the textures. And then people will cry that the console version isn't as good as the PC version and it's not fair and it should always be the same and blah, 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 blah. The world's not fair. Why do PC players always get better than us? Consoles are just as good as PCs. Giants hates us, etc., etc., etc. And all that other crap that gets spouted when things are different, because do you know what, folks? The world's not fair, and we'll just hate console players, basically. And it's our mission to make your game worse. You can delete the rage comment. I'm taking the piss out of you. But I don't know what the solution will be. I would assume that the ModHub version is going to have lower quality textures in it. might equally, and I'm assuming, and when you assume, you make an ass of you and me. Actually, I prefer a different version of that saying, but I'm not going to say it in a YouTube video. It's the version that's in a film called Under Siege 2. With a star that turned out to be a bit of a nut job later in life. You can look up the quote for that about assumption if you want. Anyway, yeah, my assumption is the map is so big because of the quality of the textures involved. And my assumption is that for it to work on console, anyway, it will have to have lower quality textures. And therefore, it will naturally be smaller. And my assumption, therefore, is that the mod hub version will be a single version that will be for console and PC, and it will just be lower quality. And then everyone will cry that it's not the same as the version that was released for PC, and everyone hates us, and the world is going to end, and why are giants so bad, etc., etc., etc. And then people will try and download a 1.7 gigabyte file through ModHub, and they won't cry so much. Well, they will cry, but anyway. And to be fair, downloads from Giant servers have got so much better in the last year or so. And most of my Giants published games come through Giants. Being a Giants partner, I like my copies of Farm Sim I buy through Giants when I buy them, and I get a copy of the game from Giants thanks to being a Giants partner. I don't think that's a shock to anyone. Might be a shock if I remain a bronze partner, because I'm not doing a good job of promoting their stuff, and you do need to sell a certain amount to remain at a higher level partner. I guess we'll see. Anyway, that's a different problem that I've not really worried about too much lately, because, you know, there are bigger fish to fry in life at the moment. But like the same with PMR, that was a Giants provided copy of the game and downloaded through Giants. But and their servers have been really good in terms of like download and stuff. I think the last big-ish update I did was to PMR when I haven't played it much lately, but I updated my game, and the update was really quick. Now you might be sitting there again, well, that's because the game's dead and no one's updating their game. Bugger off. When I've downloaded preview copies of Farm Sim and there's only partners having access, previously it was really slow. And there aren't that many partners that get preview access. Giants have made big improvements in the speeds of downloads of their servers. It's just a thing. I think they've changed how the updates are served across the world. So yeah, it's cool. But equally, if you know, the bigger the file, the worse it is. And mods come from Giant servers. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, I should really keep an eye on the Giants partner thing and probably try and do a better job of that, because I do need to sell a certain amount of stuffs to stay as a bronze partner. I don't know. It's a weird one, isn't it? Obviously, it was a big thing for me, and it was a big thing for my Farm Sim community to have achieved being a bronze partner. and you guys helped a huge amount with that because you were the ones doing the use of my partner code, um, along with me buying some of it, but most of it was you guys doing things with my partner code. Um, but I kind of feel like, and like I was chatting to some of you at, I was going to say FarmCon. It wasn't FarmCon, was it? It was Llama. Don't do FarmCon. Don't you know where FarmCon is? Because, but I feel like kind of a bunch of us have kind of lost interest in playing the game as much. Um, Now there are still a bunch of us at Llama. Yeah, I was talking to some of you about playing the Beaver game. Because you found the Beaver game from watching me play the farming game, and then I made videos about moist beaver, and some of you weren't hugely offended by seeing moist beavers on your YouTube feed. Um, I mean, it's just kind of like, yeah, good things can't always last forever, folks. I mean, yeah, I'm the classic example of wanting to repeatedly do the same thing. I played the same game for probably, I think it was 10 years. I think it might have been 12. You know, there used to be videos of it on here. I think I got rid of them all. It's why I started doing YouTube. Um, Battle Pirates. I've mentioned it a few times. I played that game, I think, for 10 years, maybe 12. As I said, I haven't played it now in a while. But I had a bunch of friends on there who played the game. Um, and gradually people drifted away, people came back. I think some of them still play it. Probably now, 15 more or more years later, maybe more. I had a little stint of playing it a few years ago. I went back. Some of them are still playing it. Um, and I'm a classic example of someone who wants to repeatedly do the same thing. But I don't know. I don't know what it is with Farm Sim that, um, whether it's giants and them not progressing the game in the right way. This is not going to go into a rant, don't worry. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I, I have in the last little while been experimenting a little bit, folks. And I've played a few different games. Well, they're not really that different. You know about the space game. You know about the space game. And when I say different games, actually, it's not that different because I've been playing Hunter Call of the Wild. Now, I have played the proper original Hunter game. I think they call it the classic now. I started playing that when it was released, or fairly soon after it was released, a very long time ago. And it was a game that I would pick up every so often, and play. I haven't played it in ages. It's kind of it used to be a Christmas game for me. I'd have a couple of weeks off for Christmas, and I would usually play it over the Christmas break, and I'd play it for a bit, and then I'd drop it again. And I think it was when I was off. No, it wasn't. Um, I can't remember why I decided to. Was it last weekend? Or was it this weekend? Might have been last. I had a weekend I was feeling a bit ropey. And the laptop I'm doing this on, when I brought it, it came with a month of free Game Pass. I was just looking for a game to play. And it was last week. It was the weekend before. Might have even been before that. Mrs. D was in bed because she was struggling with her health conditions. And I brought this very early release flight sim. I can't even remember the name of it. And I played it for like an hour, and it was like I think it was supposed to be like set in the Canadian wilderness, something like that. And you basically had to build your float plane and then fly it. And I built the plane, but the flight physics were awful, absolutely awful. Am I where I think I am? Yes, yes, I am. And so I refunded it at that point. And the reviews were very mixed. Some of them were really good. Some of them were very, this needs a lot of work. And yeah, I just didn't get on with it very well. So I refunded that. And then I was like, oh, I have a month of Game Pass. And the Hunter Call of the Wild is a game that I've looked at on and off. I almost brought it a couple of months ago. Humble Bundle had a really cheap bundle of loads of stuff, and I almost picked it up then. And it's one I always look at in the Steam sale because I've played the Hunter, the classic version of the Hunter game for a lot of years. And I saw it was on Game Pass, and so I installed it. And I've played it a little bit, but it is very much one of those games you can kind of pick up and play, and you play for a few hours and then you walk away. And it feels a much more casual version of the game than the original. But yeah, so I've been playing that a little bit. I've still been playing my space game, but not quite as intensely. So, and honestly, I've been not playing games a bit lately. So I've been I got back into running a little bit, which is cool. And also, one of my favorite content creators is doing one of my favorite series of theirs. In fact, the only series that he does that I watch. So you've probably, I'm pretty sure I must have mentioned Christopher Odd at some points. He's doing an XCOM 2 series at the moment, which is always really good. Him doing XCOM is how I found his channel. How I actually found the game at XCOM 2. I think it was watching him play it. XCOM 2 is a game that I've played a fair bit of and really enjoyed. I think I might try to make a video of that at some point before I did Farm Sim. Back when I was making occasional random videos after I did Battle Pirates videos. Anyway, yeah, I've been watching a lot of those because he does usually like an hour video a day. So, and I've seen him announce he was doing a series, and then I missed that it started. So I've been playing catch up. It's so good. Such good entertainment. And yeah, so anywho, I've really been rambling for 45 minutes. Jeez, I was just thinking I feel a little bit tired, and that would explain it. It's also getting later in the evening here, but hey, we got work to do, folks. We got work to do. And then I need to try and edit this and upload it this evening, ideally. But we'll see. So I'm at the hotel, which has possible free internet. By possible, I mean I can usually upload videos from here. Usually overnight while I'm sleeping. But I am in about the worst room in the hotel for internet. So we are going to F1, deactivate automatic application, and I'm going to turn down think that's on 5 kilograms. We're going to have the nitrogen on really low. We're going to set that. Bosh, bosh, off we go. Yeah, I'm on like the room. I mean, one of the furthest rooms from kind of the center of the hotel. So it's a hotel at a motorway services, which is quite close to where I work. The fact this is a motorway services means it's cheap and I'm paying the bill, so cheap is good. Anyway, yeah, it's on like one of it's like the furthest room from the center of the hotel, and it means the Wi-Fi signals hit pretty much. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to upload this or not. We'll see. And I don't know if I'm going to keep going to the point where we've got the rolling done or not. I don't really want to make a video that's much longer than an hour. Do with getting a drink and having a bit of time to chill out after this. We'll see. Yeah, I have got the teaching thing installed, so might have a little setup of that for doing the up-down rows. Yeah, it's got me really, really wanting to have a Stream Deck, because I think that would be really good for that. Because you could program the Stream Deck to have the 4 buttons, and I could just use my AliExpress macro keyboard to program and have the 4 buttons. Or I could do what I've been doing previously and use the Stream Deck app on a phone or whatever, but yeah. I think that mod's got real potential for being useful for stuff. The fact that it's 4 keys that you can essentially reprogram is really nice. Yeah. We'll see what... we'll see how we get on, folks. We'll see how we get on. Now, I was going to say, in theory, I don't need to do a headland descent, but there's a hedge there. So we do, because hedges have collisions. So unrealistic. In real life, you just drive straight through hedges, I'm sure. So, I guess another thing. I have not updated my map. There was an update there's been several updates to Maypole Farm since I started playing on here. I haven't done any of them because of the edits that I made to the map. So I'm several versions out of date. I don't think it's a significant problem, because I'm not really using... So I had a look at some of the updates, and I don't think any of them really affect me too much. Might be famous last words, but because I'm mostly not using the infrastructure of the map, and probably won't really, the only... the downside of motorway services hotels is that a lot of traffic, particularly this room seems to be bad for road noise. Anyway, the only bit of the map I could see us potentially using if we wanted to expand is the contractor farm, which I think is over here somewhere. So it was the farm that was DS Agri back in the day when I did this originally, and we had a farm for the patrons on here, and they were doing contracting work on the map, which was not that one. It's that one. Yeah, that farm. So if we wanted more farm buildings, or like a second farm base, that I could see us maybe purchasing. So I'm back. If you watched Monday's Timberborn video, you might have spotted the edited in comment that video was meant, well, not meant, should have come out on Sunday, but came out on Monday because I was ill over the weekend. And I thought I was better. Turns out I was not. But we've just paused for a moment. Actually, like 90% better, but yeah. Turns out I was not completely better. So anyway, we're carrying on. But I don't think we're going to be doing the rolling. So yeah, we're going to get this wrapped up as speedily as we can. Because I could do with chilling out for the rest of the evening. So, and I think probably this video will be a Wednesday video. That way I can edit this on Tuesday when I'm back home. I think that's a more sensible idea. Yeah, we'll get this finished up. I don't think it's going to take me too long to finish the seeding. So, yeah. Oh well. One of those things, folks. One of those things. Nothing major. Nothing major. Hey, the lights are doing a good job. And it's not that late yet in the game day. I will endeavor to get the rolling done between videos. So, and we've got a mixer full of food stored up so that in the morning I can just bung that in and we can crack on with lots of planting. So, because we have a busy April ahead. So we've got to plant 3 fields. We need to make sure we don't miss a bit because otherwise that's going to be bugging me going forwards and backwards. Anyway, yeah, we've got 3 fields to plant. We've got the pasture to deal with. That needs cutting and probably silaging. I don't think we'll be making hay from it at this point in the year with red tape installed. So anyway, that's the headlands done. So can I quickly... so what would we want to do? We would do an immediate set to that. We would then let's wait 2 seconds. Implements raise rear implement. Yeah, that'd be fine. Yeah, and then sequence 2 would be immediate vehicle rear linkage lower implement. Vehicle GPS on. Actually, we might want to do a wait. Let's do a wait to GPS on, and then slot 3 cruise control 2 on, and we'll do another wait 2. Yeah. Okay. So if we then do Control Alt down, slot 2, yeah. Oh, there we go. I just have to wait for the GPS to kick in. Yeah, that's fine. Cool. So that should make life a little bit easier. or not. I guess we'll find out in a bit when we come to turning around and stuff. So, yeah. Does this tractor have it in the interior? So, I don't know. And the idea is that it's meant to replicate kind of pre-programming some features onto some buttons in the tractor. Yeah, I'm kind of tempted. I'm kind of tempted to purchase a small version of the. So I mentioned earlier the macro keyboard. And I don't, you may, or if you've not been here long enough to know what I'm talking about, I have a video on here of a keyboard that I purchased off of AliExpress, which lets you program all of the keys to just be different. You can set them up to be keyboard combinations of pre-programmed keys. And I set that up for FS22 to work with VCA. Now, we don't have a fully functional VCA now because, as far as I'm aware, the modder that created VCA has stepped away from modding for FS20, for FS. Doesn't need a 20 whatever. But you can program it to do anything. I got the idea from another favorite YouTube channel that I watch, Atomic Shrimp. The channel that gave me the phrase, "We're just out here peeling carrots," and that I use that more in Timberborn than I use it here, and it comes from we're not trying to achieve perfection, we're just peeling a carrot. There's context around that, but anyway, I did not press the correct button there, so we're just going to manually do this one. There we go. Yeah, but so he used one of those keyboards to set up keyboard shortcuts for DaVinci Resolve, which is the video editing software that I also use. I did not do it for that, but I did it for playing the farming game that we all know and love, or know at least, sometimes not love. But anyway, they do different size versions of that keyboard, and I think they do a 4-key version, so 2x2, or actually 4. I think they do a 4x1 as well, and that would be perfect for setting up to control this mod. And obviously it's then much smaller than the version that I had previously, which I think was a 20-key, at least 4 keys, but it could have been 20, at least 16, but I think it was a 20-key keyboard. So it's a bit bigger, whereas a 4-key keyboard is smaller, obviously, because it only has 4 keys rather than 20 keys. So yeah, I'm kind of curious about that, maybe as an option. I've been pondering for a while. It's actually sat in my Amazon cart because I've been pondering it that much. Picking up a tablet now to use for stuff like this Stream Deck app. Now, I have purchased tablets for doing this in the past. The tablet that Mrs. D has was brought for doing this, well, actually, it was brought for doing the farm thing. Sim Dashboard. That's the one. And I didn't end up using it very much, so it was donated to her. And then I brought another tablet to use for the Stream Deck app. But it turned out that tablet wasn't good enough. It barely runs the freaking YouTube app. It's the problem with buying really cheap tablets on AliExpress. I'm not researching well enough. Now it might run Sim Dashboard. I haven't tried. but because it's frustratingly slow, and it was really cheap. It was really cheap. So I've been considering a better quality tablet, so that I can use it for. I've actually looked at a couple of different options, so that I can use it for running the Elgato Stream Deck app on it, predominantly, because it'll make controlling things like OBS easier. I can set it up to control bits in the game. I don't think I can use it for Timberborn particularly, because you don't really need keyboard shortcuts in that quite so much. I don't anyway. Not that I need to program anyway. I did have a look. I looked this morning. I think it was this morning. Might have been yesterday at so there's a Corsair keyboard that has a Stream Deck built into it. I saw it at Llama. I didn't realize quite how steep that was to purchase. We won't be buying that. We won't be buying that. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of rambling at this point, folks. It's the wrong end of yet another long day. It's been a long day on farm. Didn't expect to be doing this in this video. We've run out of fertilizer, but that really doesn't matter because, to be honest, I was only really we're doing a bit of manual control here. Why have the cruise control speeds changed? It's like it thinks we're in reverse. I go in here. How do I change the cruise control speed? I can't remember. 9's fast enough. It's fast enough. I've lost my train of thought now. Anyway, yeah. Nope, completely gone. Completely gone. I need to go get some rest, I think. Nearly done with this job. And it is a real benefit getting this planted at this point. Because it's going to get an extra growth state, which means we're going to be ahead on getting silage off of this field to keep the BGA fed, which is going to mean we can keep ahead of processing the manure and the slurry, which is going to be good for keeping red tape happy. And you always want to keep the purveyors of the red tape happy. We are winning, folks. We are winning. And, you always want to be winning at your game. And particularly Farm Sim. So, I think you can lose at Farm Sim. I guess you can go bankrupt. So yet again, I was browsing YouTube as you do. And I was recommended a video which was, I survived X many days in Farm Sim. It's like, well, it's really hard to die in Farm Sim. Technically, I think you can drown. If you crash a vehicle into the water, you'll get reset to the spawn point. So technically, you are dying. But if you just stand in the field, you don't die in 100 days, and it really made me want to make a stupidly fast, like hyper lapsed video of I survived 100 days in Farm Sim and just stand in a field for 100 days. and not do anything as like a YouTube short, because I'm a cynical old arse, and those videos annoy me because you don't die in this game, so how are you surviving? You know, the element of survival involves an element of you not being able to survive. I'm sorry, yeah. Anyway, we're almost done. So I'm going to say thank you to the patrons and the new YouTube channel members, because you guys are awesome. Appreciate you supporting the channel. I did say I wasn't going to rant in this video. That feels like it might have been a little bit of a rant about surviving and not surviving. But hey, no, it's not hay. Well, it could be hay because we're planting grass. But yeah, we may have ranted. There may not have been rantage. But we have got grass planted, which is good. We have a shiny new field, which is good. And we will be back in a new month, which is also good. As I said, I don't know what the end of this week is going to look like, because I am getting new windows, which is mixed as to whether that's good, because it involves people coming into the house and making lots of noise and lots of mess. But I will see you next time, folks. So thanks for watching. Comments, questions, suggestions are welcome as always, and I will see you all next time.